I think I might have been muted the whole time. That would really suck on. Well, fuck, I was muted the whole time. Anyway, so that's embarrassing. I've been streaming for 13 minutes, and I was muted the whole time. Oof. My bad. So, being that I was muted whenever I said it originally, welcome on in anyone joining now or later. We are playing Doom 64, which I'm sure by now many of you probably noticed already. Oh, this is dark. But this is one of those games that everyone was saying was good, but a lot of people criticized it for not innovating enough. And one thing that I was saying during the first level, which I didn't realize I was muted, was the graphics does look like it has a big upgrade, because this feels like it looks better than Doom 2 did. And I'm not sure if Doom 2 actually had it or not, but one thing I've noticed is you can hear when the bodies hit the ground. Now, it might be because I'm using a headset that has better bass than my previous headset. So that is completely possible that Doom 1 and 2 already had that effect. And I just wasn't able to notice it. But I am able to notice it easily now. Like, I can hear the bass booming. That's kind of cool. But it could very well be the fact that with the headset I'm using, it's a lot easier to hear the bass of them hitting the ground. But still something that I noticed while I was playing the first level. Also, one thing, so far the only thing that I really don't like about this compared to Doom 1 or Doom 2 is the fact that I no longer have an aiming reticle and I can't turn it on. I think that's like the only thing that really, really sucks. But how the fuck am I supposed to get that? Maybe I'm supposed to look for a switch. There it is. Huh. Oh. Don't want that. Fuck. Damn near tip to tip with it. So we don't want that one, and we don't want the middle one. Fuck. Alright, now that we've got the key card. Oh! That's kind of fucked up. That is fucked. What's up, Gary? How you doing? Unfortunately, I did like 15 minutes of the stream without even knowing I was muted. So, oof. But we are playing Doom 64. bitch. Oh, nice. Good luck with Inferno difficulty. That's all I'll say. Because there's a trophy that requires you to complete Inferno difficulty, as well as a trophy that requires you to get an S rank in Inferno difficulty. Those two trophies are the reason I sat there and stopped trying to platinum it. Those are the only blue things I know about. All right. Okay, so this is the blue door. Maybe I'm supposed to fall down here. That is some bullshit. God damn it. Oh yeah, it's a great game. I really like it. It's just the fact that a lot of people, well, it's just the fact that realistically it's not a good remake because of how much content they cut from the original. That's the main reason people don't like it. Because of how much was in the original that they didn't keep. Okay, give me a sec. I'm gonna go into wireless mode on my headset. reason. It's not sitting there giving me all the audio when I go into dongle mode or wireless mode. I'm not sure why. I have to figure that out later. Honestly, if you're enjoying the series, I recommend playing 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They are really good. 5 and 6 are co-op, so if you have a friend you can play them with, makes it way more fun. But good luck with platinuming them, because I heard that they were very difficult to platinum. So if you shoot for the platinum, good luck. Huh. Looks like there was probably a switch somewhere that I pulled to make it stop. Personally, I love Resident Evil, so my bad. Sorry. So you probably already know that if it's that I'll sit there and say all of them are amazing, which, to be fair, I do genuinely believe all of them are amazing, with the exception of a couple. But anyway, I highly recommend playing 5, 6, and at least 7. Honestly, the Batman Arkham games and Insomniac Spider-Man games are top tier. 2 was kind of a disappointment, but it was still a good game. God of War games, really good. There isn't a single bad God of War game. The Last of Us, one of them is good. I'm sorry, but Last of Us 2 isn't very good. GTA games, there isn't any really bad GTA games. There are some that aren't super good. but that is mainly due to technical limitations and not because of the game itself. And the one game I'm referring to is exclusive to the Game Boy Advanced, I believe. GTA 5 is hella overrated. Aside from GTA 5 being overrated, though, GTA is a really good series. I'm really looking forward to GTA 6. That one, returning to Vice City, is going to be amazing. I'm really hoping it winds up being worth the wait, because it would really suck if it releases and it winds up not being that good. Need a yellow key for that. Absolutely not. And the reason why I say that is because there are already a ton of great bank heist movies and shit like that. That adding GTA onto that would be absolutely unnecessary, especially considering the fact that GTA takes inspiration from a lot of those movies. So you'd be with a movie inspired by a game inspired by other movies. I feel like it would just be unnecessary. Honestly, I think if they were to make a Resident Evil TV show, I think the main character should be Chris. And I know a lot of Resident Evil fans would be upset that I say that, but I feel like if there's any character that deserves to be the main character of a Resident Evil TV show, it would only be between Chris and Jill. My bad. Honestly, if they were to do a Resident Evil TV show, an actually good one and not the Netflix adaptation, I feel like the best option would be to just have it be about some of their random BSAA missions. Because working for the BSAA, they're going to go on a lot of missions, right? Or they could sit there and have it be a show for Ada Wong with her espionage missions. I honestly think that might be really interesting as well. Yeah. To be fair, though, some of the TV shows they make are really good. And then we have the Resident Evil TV show that they made. That show is just god awful. I am missing something. What the fuck? There is something that I am just missing, and I'm not sure what it is. Like, some of the shows they made that are really good are like, for example, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. That was such a good show. I'm getting fucked. Fucking hell. Ah. I hate this. Oh. Well, I'm alive. It's gotta count for something, right? Honestly, I'd say either Amazon or Max. 'Cause HBO has made some really good shit. But so is Amazon. I mean, everybody was loving the Fallout TV show. I feel like, though, there is one thing Netflix can be trusted with. It's making anime adaptations. Because the anime adaptation for Cyberpunk and Devil May Cry were at least good. Um, I mean, yeah, that's the case with a lot of freaking video game adaptations anyway. Whenever a TV show or a movie for a video game comes out, there's almost a guarantee that they're going to change things. Sometimes it's something small, like uh, fucking can't think of any shows or adaptation. Or I know. Sometimes it's something small like the Last of Us TV show where it was a bunch of small things that got changed, but for the most part, it was still a good series and mostly faithful. Sometimes they change everything, like with the Resident Evil movies. Those absolutely suck. If you're thinking about watching Resident Evil movies, do yourself a favor, don't. Okay, now I'm going to try to go into Bluetooth mode again. There we go. Oh shit, I'm getting shot at. Or my health's at 8. But yeah, there are some good adaptations that do change everything. For example, the Mario movie was a good adaptation. Um, but for the most part, I don't think adaptations are very good. Yes, the Resident Evil live action movies are awful. If you're going to watch any of the Resident Evil movies, watch the animated ones. They aren't that bad, but they aren't that good either. You at least will, if you're gonna watch the animated Resident Evil movies, think of it as a turn your brain off and enjoy the movie. That is the best way I can put it. They aren't bad, but they aren't great either. So, be warned, but honestly, despite the Resident Evil movies being awful, I still do enjoy them. I just would never pick that over the game. You know what I mean? If someone tells me that they got to experience Resident Evil for the first time, I'm gonna have a smile on my face. But then when they start talking about the movies, I'm gonna give them that side eye. You know what I mean? Damn. So there's this bid going on for an Xbox Series S because I was looking at getting a Series S and a screen to take to work so that I can play console games while at work. Someone was bidding a Series S, and I set my max bid to $100. I was just outbid. Yeah, not getting that one. Let's see. I really only need the console itself because I already have a Series X. But honestly, yeah, I kind of see it. But at the same time, a lot of people sit there and say Leon's the main character only because they haven't played most of them. Fuck. But in reality, I think Chris is the main character because out of the entire series, he is in majority of the games. Maybe not majority of the games, but out of all the games, he is one of the most consistent main characters. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Resident Evil 4 is the most popular. And as much as I'd hate to say it, it is for a reason. But RE4 is the most popular Resident Evil game, and he was the main character, so I feel like that is the main reason that a lot of people think of Leon as the main character. But aside from that, I don't see any reason why someone would think of Leon as the main character. I want to see if this ends up opening up whenever it ends up right there. But, like, Chris has been in the original several side games. So Chris has been in the original Resident Evil, the remake of the original. He was mentioned a lot in Resident Evil 2 because Claire was looking for her brother Chris. He was the main character of 5. He was in 7. He was in 6. He was in 8. And then there was also the fact that he was one of the main characters in Revelations. So he's been in the most Resident Evil games. Honestly, out of all the Resident Evil characters, Jill is my favorite. I absolutely love Jill. But realistically, I think the main character is Chris. Jill was in the original Resident Evil 3, the remake of 3. She was in the original Resident Evil, the remake of the original Resident Evil. She was in Revelations, and she was in 5. Her last canonical appearance was in Resident Evil 5. Granted, I don't like her that much in Resident Evil 3 Remake, because she used to be like this mild-mannered, uh, calm, or mostly calm character, but Resident Evil 3 kind of made her a fucking asshole, not gonna lie. Especially with how she treats Carlos in the beginning of the game. Honestly, if I got to make my own Resident Evil, then she would be the main character-ish. And the reason why I say ish is because the two main characters I would make if I got to make my Resident Evil game would be Chris and Jill. Honestly, I hope not. And as much as I love Leon, I don't want him to be one of the main characters of. Okay, correction. So the reason why I say this is because it's reported that Resident Evil 9 will be the final main line game. Okay, so with that in mind, the reason why I say I don't want Leon to be one of the main characters is I feel like the final mainline Resident Evil game should be a reunion of all the original characters. So I feel like the main two characters should be Jill and Chris, with Rebecca Chambers and Barry Burton as supporting characters. I feel like having those four as the main cast for the final Resident Evil game, or the final mainline Resident Evil game, is the most fitting thing they can do. They canonically met in one of the movies. However, honestly, I don't even think about the movies when talking about Resident Evil canon because of how, I don't want to say how bad they are, but how inconsistent they can be. So, canonically, yes, they have met. Fucking hell. Yeah, I think if they were to choose them to be the main characters, Leon and Jill would need a game together before Resident Evil 9, which so far hasn't happened. Hell, there hasn't even been a game where Jill will mention Leon. But if they wanted to make a Resident Evil with Jill and Leon meeting at least and teaming up, they could always pick up the Revelations storyline, because Revelations 1 ended on a cliffhanger that they never picked up. So they could easily pick that storyline back up and finish it. And in the process, make it to where Leon and Jill work together. No. Chris and Jill knew each other from the original Resident Evil. They worked together in Revelations, and they worked together in 5. But in 5, you'd have to play the story and the DLC to know the full story. In fact, with 5, play Lost in Nightmares first, and then play the main game. But in Resident Evil 1, they actually worked together as STARS members. In Resident Evil 2, you can actually enter the STARS office. You can see Jill's desk, which has a blue STARS beret. And you can see Chris's desk, which has a Lost in Heaven jacket next to it, as well as some rock CDs, because at the time he listened to rock. So they worked closely together. In Resident Evil 1, they were on the same team. So there was Alpha Team and Bravo Team. Rebecca was part of Bravo Team. Chris, Jill, Wesker, Barry, and Brad were a part of Alpha Team. Yeah, that's the whole reason he was being chased by Mr. X. He forgot to pay for his soda at the gas station. And Mr. X was just trying to get him to pay for the soda he took. Mr. X was never the villain. I'm a villain, not a monster. Ho ho. Oh, that was just a meme. Canonically, Mr. X was created to protect the RPD from anyone finding out what Umbrella was up to. That's why if you play as Claire, Mr. X will chase Claire, and that's why if you play as Leon, Mr. X will chase Leon. because he's protecting the RPD and its secrets. Whenever he chases you outside of the RPD, he's trying to kill you because you know too much. I need to go not that way. I believe this way? Yeah. Because here's the other door. Hard to explain. I'd say because that was a hit. But they do step away from the Umbrella Corporation quite a bit at the same time. For example, Resident Evil 4 is about the Los Illuminados. They do mention the Umbrella Corporation at the end, and it's not even because of the Umbrella Corporation, it's because of Wesker. Wesker used to be part of the Umbrella Corporation, and he's the main enemy of 5. Well, in 5 he kills the original, the only surviving original founder of the Umbrella Corporation, and then basically walks off. Then, after that, after he kills the only surviving or only remaining founder of the Umbrella Corporation, the only thing they mention of the Umbrella Corporation in 5 is lore. You know, how they came up with the zombie virus, essentially. And then in set 6, there's pretty much the Umbrella Corporation isn't the main enemy. There's just more info on the Umbrella Corporation as well as some locations. And then in 7, the main enemies are Mold, which were developed by a group called the Connections. In 8, the main enemies are essentially a cult, and the only mention of the Umbrella Corporation is through diary entries, essentially. And in Revelations 1, I haven't spotted any... Okay, there was only one mention of the Umbrella Corporation that I can remember, and that was the main enemy commenting that he should have expected more, considering that the two people you play as are the two people who took down the Umbrella Corporation. And then in Revelations 2, they mentioned how I think there were a few mentions of the Umbrella Corporation, and at the end of the game you kind of, if you know a little bit about the lore, then you know exactly why. But there have been quite a few games without the Umbrella Corporation being the center of it all. Honestly, no. I do not think that Capcom would be ballsy enough to kill off Jill or Leon. Honestly, if they were to kill off any characters, I think it would be either Claire or Chris. Damn. I need a blue key card for that door. I don't need any key card for that door. So this is the only door I'm gonna go through. That's fine. You can save Leon and Chris. I'm gonna save Claire and Jill. While I'm at it, shit, I'll save Ashley too. Why do I have a bad feeling? Honestly, I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know is because I don't feel like you've played enough of the games, but at the same time, you might not need to play enough of the games to make a good Resident Evil game. So, I'm going to say no, but I'm also going to say that it doesn't mean you can't. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but I want to see what's on the other side. So I already went on this side. Fuck. It's the same bullshit. Okay, well. Let's go ahead and go through that door then. Oh, I need a yellow key card. Damn, bitch. Who would you have be the main character? You know, here's a better question. Who would you have be the main character of your Resident Evil game? And what would the storyline be about? Okay. So what would the story be about? Because it's easy to pick a main character for a potential game, but having a main character pretty much does nothing for you if you don't know what kind of adventure you want to send them on. They have fake walls in this game? I feel like that's cheating. Ooh. Only one problem with going back to Raccoon City, and this was pointed out to me when I came up with an idea for them to go back to Raccoon City. Raccoon City was nuked. So I'm not going to say you can't, but you definitely have to be careful with it, and you'd have to make it brief. I don't think it would be able to be a permanent return. And the main reason why I say that is because I had a similar idea, and my friend pointed that out to me. Okay, so was Leon, like, kidnapped or something? Need a red key card for that door. This was the door I just came through. This door requires a red key card. What is wrong with this door? Oh. Half of it was after. So the first half of Resident Evil 3 takes place before Resident Evil 2. However, pardon me, after Jill wakes up in the hospital, that takes place after Resident Evil 2. So once you're done playing as Carlos, it takes place after Resident Evil 2. Oh. Okay. So, got to do something pretty cool today. So, in my mother's game collection, I saw something that she had that was really cool. So, if you like retro games, you'll probably think it's really cool as well. She had a physical PC copy of Silent Hill 3 with the original soundtrack. So, I was listening to the original soundtrack and got hooked on it. She offered to make me my own copy and burn it to a CD. And I got to make cover art for it. So I have my own custom Silent Hill 3 soundtrack with its own art. And oh my god, I love this so much. Of course, being that it is a burned CD, this is an unofficial copy. But so fucking fantastic. I look forward to posting pictures of it on my Instagram. No. 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 No, if anything, send Jill to Silent Hill. Okay. Have you played any of the Silent Hill games? the second game recently got a remake, so if you have not, do yourself a favor and play Silent Hill 2 Remake. It is, let's just say it's a legendary game for a reason. Silent Hill 2 Remake was my second favorite game that came out last year. And oh my god, it's crazy. It doesn't go deep into the lore about the area, but man, I honestly wish I hope that they remake 2, 3, and 4 because of how good Blooper Team did remaking the second Silent Hill game. They did fantastic. If you want to emulate it, I highly recommend, if you do not have a PC, getting a emulation device. I have the Anbernic RG556, and I just ordered the Anbernic RG557, both of which handle PS2 games very well, so you could easily play some of the best Silent Hill games. Oh, absolutely. Come on. You're gonna have Jill crossover with The Last of Us? I mean, okay, correction. It wouldn't be such a bad idea under one condition. Last of Us 2 has to have never happened. Last of Us 1, great game. As long as it's non-canon, it would just be a fun entry, then I wouldn't be against a crossover. But if we're involving The Last of Us 2, I'm sorry. Hail to the no, to the no, no, no. Hail to the no, to the no, no, no. The Last of Us 1 is a fantastic game, and I look forward to playing it. So if we got a game where Joel and Jill work together, that would be kind of cool. I don't want it to be a canon entry, though. I just want it to be, a fun, like, what-if scenario. You know what I mean? And honestly, those, like, what-if scenarios, those can be some of the most fun things, because you get to, you're not constrained by anything. You just, if you want to make things entirely differently, you can make things entirely differently and easily get away with it, because people can't get upset that it's not adhering to previous lore, because guess what? It's non-canon. This is let's see. Honestly, if I got to make a Resident Evil game, this is what I would do. Okay. This is going to be a really simple breakdown. So in Revelations, at the end of the game, it is revealed that the vial of the virus was saved and likely sold. So I'd make it to where shortly after Resident Evil 5, Jill Valentine fakes her death. She falls in love and fakes her death. Planned by someone else. Her love interest helps her fake her death, and they drop off the radar. So you'd get to play as Jill and her husband. Um, this is how they fake their death. They sit there and return to Raccoon City and are in a massive ambush. And quote unquote die in the Spencer Mansion. Well, several years later, Chris gets a tip about viruses being sold in a city. I haven't decided what city or anything like that, because originally it was going to be Raccoon City. But with the nuke, Jill's not going to stay there very long. So he goes there. He is being swarmed with enemies and nearly dies. And mind you, Chris thinks that Jill is dead. And then Jill shows up to save his ass. Jill takes him to a camp where Jill, a few other Resident Evil characters, and her husband are helping people in the apocalypse survive. They have established several camps across the country helping people. And I do want to bring Claire in on it, because after how her story ended in RE Rev 2, it seems logical that she'd find another way to help people. And I would, if I got to do it however I wanted, I would make it open world. You'd have the entire city to access each part of the city with their own threats and stuff like that. And hidden labs that you can hunt down and shut down, stuff like that. But the main focus would be busting this virus deal. And they would fail to shut down the virus deal and have to find the lab where they are operating from to find out that this organization has been collecting viruses the entire time. Like they've collected the T virus, the C virus, the G virus, the T abyss. They've collected samples of the mold. They've collected Ouroboros. They've collected samples of Las Plaga. And they see that they have not only collected samples of the viruses, but collected corpses of the monsters and made their own versions. So you'd see some of the big enemies, the big bads from other Resident Evil games brought back and modified, because they had been collecting this shit for years. And I'd make it to where they were the ones who hired Nikolai in Resident Evil 3. And he was there collecting data on the Nemesis. But I'd make it to where he was also collecting data on Mr. X. And Wesker was collecting information on the original Tyrant from Resident Evil 1. We were talking about what we would do if we got to make our own Resident Evil game. I was talking about how mine would be a sequel or kind of a sequel. It would pick up the storyline of Revelations, because the Revelations ended on a cliffhanger that Capcom never picked back up. And one thing that I would do is, being that mine would be an open world game, you'd be able to go to survivor camps to do things like craft weapons, save your game, stuff like that. Also, customize your weapons, stuff like that. But you'd get the ability to play as other characters in certain missions. For example, some missions you'd play as Jill, some missions you'd play as her husband, some missions you'd play as Chris, um, as well as maybe have some side missions where you can play as other characters in the camp. Potentially Claire, Rebecca, and Barry. But I'm not sure about those three. I would love to have them in there, but um, but also one thing I would do is make it to where once Chris is there long enough, he would have his own space and like his own room essentially. And when you play as the other characters, you can sit there and visit their room. And one thing I would do is, if you play as Jill or her husband, you can not only plug up a game console and play it with their two children, but on the fridge, you'd be able to see a recipe for a Jill sandwich made by Barry. The concept of an open world Resident Evil would be, it sounds so good. Isn't this supposed to be a double barrel shotgun? See, I would have mine be a side game because you can get away with doing a lot more in a side game than you can main games. Now, if I get to make some non-canon entries, I'm gonna have hella fun with that. I know a lot of people probably don't know about this game, but one thing that I would love to do is I would love to head the project of a sequel to Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. One game purely focused on the Mercenaries mode. I would love to do that. That sounds like so much fun. Well, damn, how am I supposed to get that? Honestly, as far as remaking all the old games, I feel like some of them would be unnecessary, especially since now we have remakes of 2, 3, and 4. Granted, 3 could use a more faithful remake, not gonna lie. But that could be done through a DLC of some kind. Whether they decide to have it be a director's cut or a deluxe edition or something like that. My question is, so canonically in Resident Evil 6, Leon kills the president because the president is a zombie. What happened to Ashley? Okay, canonically, Ashley Graham is still alive. However, her father is not. Oof, imagine. I hope not. Ashley's a pretty good character. It would really suck for her to die. I'm not sure what I would call my artist mode if I got to make my own Resident Evil. I'd probably call it survivor mode just to sit there and have a reference to Resident Evil Survivor. Because I know that they don't often reference that game. What up, bitches? How about fun alternate modes? Because that is something Resident Evil has been lacking recently. Some of the fun modes were brought back in the remakes, but not all of them. Like Resident Evil 2 brought back the Tofu Survivor, but Resident Evil 3 didn't have its it didn't have its own mercenaries, which is kind of funny considering Resident Evil 3 was the first game to have mercenaries. I think the fact that they cut RE3's mercenaries was insane. If you were to make your own Resident Evil game, you should find a way to bring Sheva Alomar back. Fans have been dying for her to make a return to the series. Sheva Alomar and Rebecca Chambers. Because they were only ever playable characters in one game each. Because Rebecca was the main character of 0, and Sheva was the secondary main character in 5. Let's see. Trying to think of other characters who are really good characters, but were only in one Resident Evil game. You could make Hunk a playable character. Just make sure that you don't make it bloated, because if it's a bloated game, it's not going to be good. Let's see. Honestly, if Resident Evil 1 got a remake, I don't think they should remove any content, but I feel like the content that is already in the current remake of Resident Evil 1 would be just fine. There's no need for even more content, aside from maybe alternate modes, because having more additional modes would be fun. Like giving us a challenge mode or something like that. That would be really cool. But I wouldn't want them to go crazy with adding more more story content. Alright, I'm actually gonna call it here because it's been about 2 hours. Honestly, I actually kind of like Doom 64. I think I might like it more overall than Doom 2. And as far as twist villains go, it's supposed to be a secret. At least until the very end. But we will be streaming Cyberpunk 2077 later on. So, pardon me. If you wish to join, my Twitch is the same as my YouTube, the_comic_geek. Hope you guys had a great time. Hope to see you guys later. And until next week, or if you do decide to join Twitch later tonight, I'll see you later.